Breakout is an arcade video game developed and published by Atari back in 1976. What's cool to think about is that giants like Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs from the OG Apple company were part of the design team of the OG Breakout. I'm part of a challenge named the 20 Game Challenge, in which you recreate 20 existing games. In this video, I'll show you how I recreated Breakout in Godot. First, I did some research. I collected everything I learned about the game in a game design document, or GDD. From that, I created GitHub issues and planned them out in a new GitHub project. Now I was ready to create. I knew I wanted to have the game in portrait mode, like the original, but also to make it more mobile friendly. So I set up the project's resolution, and the main scene with walls and a ceiling. Next was the paddle, with a simple rectangle sprite and collisions. The player controls the paddle using the mouse or a finger on touchscreen devices. Time for the ball. A simple square sprite for visuals and some collisions. I had the ball spawn just above the paddle and lock it to the paddle's movements. When served, it flies in a random direction and bounces off the walls and paddle. If the ball goes outside the screen, the ball resets and you can reserve. Let's add some more to the gameplay. Bricks. There will be 4 different types and colors, and they should also result in different points. To spawn the bricks, I created a brick handler. It will also keep track of how many bricks are left. When the ball hits a brick, it bounces off it, just like with walls and a paddle, but it also destroys the brick, making it possible to clear the screen. Before I could add anything related to score or game states, I needed a game manager. So I created one that is accessible as a global script, much like a singleton, and added different properties I needed it to track. Now I could update the score when a brick is destroyed directly from the brick itself and indicate how many points you should get for that brick. Then we need some way of displaying this, so I added the score UI on the top. In this game, you can't win. You just rack up points until you lose, or simply give up. But we still need the screen to reset when all the bricks are cleared, so I made the brick handler do just that. To set up the lose condition, I first started with giving the player 3 lives. Whenever the player loses all lives, then we set the game state to game over. When the game is over, you should be able to either restart or quit the game. Different Breakout versions handle the speed of the ball differently. In the original Breakout, however, you had 4 stages of speed. You had default speed, 2 times the default speed after destroying 4 bricks, 4 times the default speed after destroying 12 bricks, and 8 times the default speed after destroying an orange or red brick. So I implemented that as well. Another special thing in the original game was that when you hit the ceiling, your paddle shrinks. It makes the game super difficult, but I implemented that as well, so good luck. You can't have a game without a menu, so here's a simple main menu. Some classic sound effects are also required for some game juice, created with JSFXR. And to really pump you up, I also found an awesome soundtrack from Pixabay. And if you know me, you know I love game stats, so I added some stats you can nerd about. By the way, I left some custom dev tools in the game for you to play around with. How to use them is described on the game page. So have fun. From here I only did some final adjustments, like adding custom assets, fonts, a splash screen, and an icon. The game is playable on itch, and the source code can be found on GitHub. Both are linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you when I remake Jetpack Joyride. Bye!